Decoding MS, The Interview and Beyond. That is the name of the series that I'm launching today. Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back. In case you are new to this channel or you're watching this video for the very first time, let me give a quick introduction. My name is Anuja and I'm currently working at Microsoft as a project manager. And while I know that my knowledge and experience does help someone a lot, but because I started this channel to genuinely help you guys, I know there are things that I don't know, but someone might know better, which is why I'm starting this series where I will be sharing the room with someone else who is more knowledgeable and expertise in their field. So, everyone, welcome to the first episode of Decoding MS, Interview and Beyond. And today, I have with me a very special guest and a friend of mine, Saniya Ahuja. Saniya Ahuja is a technical consultant at Microsoft, and today I will be interviewing her and will ask her questions like, how was her resume looking like? How did she crack the code that got her shortlisted at Microsoft? How were interviews like? Whether or not there were any coding questions? And what exactly is the role of a technical consultant in Microsoft? So we will know more with Saniya, but first, let's welcome Saniya.
Hello,
Hi Saniya. First of all, thank you for agreeing to do this.
no problem.
How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I am perfect. So let's start the video. But before that, if you can give us all a very quick introduction about yourself.
Sure. So, hi everyone, I'm Saniya. I passed out in 2023 from ITR, same college as Anuja, and I did computer science engineering. And from there, I came to Microsoft as an aspire. My role is technical consultant, and it has been more than a year in Microsoft, and great experiences and great opportunities. I love it here.
Thank you so much. So, Saniya, let's start from the very basics. Could you tell us how did you prepare your resume that got you shortlisted at Microsoft?
Okay. So for resume, I think there was some events at our college that showed us how basic resume is getting prepared, and then we had some seniors who'd share their resumes from the past. So what I noticed in our seniors resume is that it was very bland. Like, they would want to fit everything in one page, so it was white in color, very congested. So I didn't like that. I liked their content, but like not how it was prepared. So I did something different. I used Canva to prepare my resume, added some colors, some pop, and a good picture of me. And then the basic of resume preparation is that your main keyword should be highlighted. So it should be short and crisp, but also like if someone is going through it, they don't have to read the whole thing. So your keywords are getting highlighted. They know what you're talking about. So yeah, that's
So just a question on top of that. When you say the keywords being highlighted, do you mean all the kind of technical qualities or like in general everything that you have achieved? So
yeah, I think all kind of qualities, even soft skills. So I prepared a section for soft skills. So if I say I'm creative, that should be like they should read it even without having to read the whole thing. Like that. If I'm writing a paragraph on soft skills, the creative word, innovation word should pop out like that.
So basically the key is if you're making your resume, make sure that you are highlighting the keywords. And I've also prepared a whole video on how I prepared my resume. If you guys want, you can check that out as well. But for now, we are gonna move on. So once your resume was shortlisted, what was the next thing that happened with you?
So I think they gave us very little time. We just got a mail that you have been selected, your profile has been selected, and the next round will be held, I think, the next week itself or something like that. So we had very less time to prepare, and I have this thing with me. I work great under pressure. So like, if you would have told me like a year before that Microsoft is going to come, I wouldn't have prepared that well, which I did in those 5 days. So I left everything. I was like, ये तो मेरे को चाहिए, ये तो मेरे को करना है. It will be great. So I started preparing by watching short videos. I was already doing lead code questions and those placement preparation things, but like I wanted to revise all of it in that less time. So I started watching videos while solving questions.
Okay.
So that helped me because I think I didn't want to solve lead code questions in those 5 days. I also wanted to be theoretically correct. Even if I get stuck in some coding question, I know that my concept is clear. So I want to revise all of that. So I started watching videos and solving questions, and I wanted to touch all the topics. I didn't want to leave anything जो भी पिछले साल पूछा गया था Microsoft में. So I had that list of topics and I wanted to cover all of it. So that's how I
So
did.
that's how you started preparing for an interview. So now coming to the interview, can you tell us two things? First, how many rounds of interview did you have?
I had three.
So there were 3 rounds of interview. So can you like first just talk about what exactly happened in the first round of interview and what were the kind of questions asked and were there any coding round involved in that round?
Yep. So the first round was technical round. In technical round, first they asked the basic oops and all. Then getting apart from the theory, it was 1 hour long interview. After the theory was like 15 minutes maybe, like very short. They just wanted to know if the basics are clear, you know. Then they got into DSA. DSA first they started with some kind of coding. So they said share your screen and in the notepad, do whatever in the notepad. Don't write anything or something. So they were looking at my screen. They were trying to figure out what way I'm taking to solve that question. I noticed that they didn't care about the end result. मतलब ऐसा हो सकता है कि तुम्हारा आंसर गलत आए, but उन्हें उससे वो नहीं था. They wanted to see the process. How do you
The
reach?
approach one person is taking.
Yeah. How do you reach that answer? So that I noticed. So all the time, even if I'm thinking something, they wanted to know what you're thinking, what way are you taking. And when I said it out loud, they said, is there any better approach? So they wanted to know how I think in that scenario, optimization and everything.
Okay. So a quick question: when somebody asks you as a person who's getting interviewed and the interviewer asks you, do you have a better approach? Is it because your first approach is wrong or is it because they just want to see how far you can stretch?
Yeah, I think the second option, because there's no right or wrong. I think as they didn't want to see the answer also, they were just kind of trying to have that brainstorming. So they wanted to see how good you can get. Like, in maths problem, there are multiple ways to solve it. So they just want to see if you have the best approach they've ever heard, like that, and then you can tell by their answers also कि शायद ये इतना पसंद नहीं आया होना, I can do something better or faster, efficient maybe. So they tell you that upfront, I think this will take a lot of time. Your approach might take a lot of time. So try to lessen the time.
Okay. So basically first round was purely technical.
Yep.
Then since you mentioned there were 3 rounds, what happened in the next round and did you get some time to prepare for the next round in between first and second round?
Okay, so I remember after my first round, I wasn't really sure if I'll get in. Like it didn't go really well. It was okay. Like they liked my approaches, but I wasn't sure if my end answer was right. But that's what I said, right? Later on, I realized they weren't really that focused on the end result. So yeah, so then I got an email, I think the night of my first round's interview. So they said that you have gotten into the second round. Second round was supposed to be managerial. So managerial means someone from the leadership team will try and talk to you and try to see your maybe leadership approach or teamwork approach, things like that. So yeah, when my managerial round happened, it was really good. Like when that happened, I knew I was getting it. It was that good. So what they asked was basically things around your resume, the projects you did, the problems you faced while doing those projects. They weren't really focused on the technical part, but problems aside from that. So for example, there was one college project that I led. So I had like a team of 5 members and I led that project. So they said, as a leader, what problems did you face? And when I told my problems, they said, how did you fix it? And what learnings did you get? Things like that. So after that, they gave me a scenario. They said, for example, you have a client and he comes to you, he has like limited time, 2-3 days, and he tells you to make this product for him. But with the resources you have, you can't do it. So what will you do? How will you approach it? So then I said that I'll convince him to give me more time because it's a Microsoft, we have great resources, he should take us. So he said that no, he doesn't have time. Like he needs it in 2 days, he doesn't have time. So I say he drilled me down to the point when I said that then I'll hire new team members.
Yeah.
So yeah.
According to you, in managerial round, what are the three or probably some more than three things that a person who is interviewing is actually trying to find in you, what would be those qualities you would say?
I think qualities of consultant: time management,
Mhm.
leadership, your respect and attitude towards your client. It shouldn't be Microsoft focused, or कि मैं इतने कर सकता हूँ या फिर मेरी टीम इतने कर सकती है, हम जो दे रहे हैं वो बेस्ट है. It should be very client oriented. Okay, you want this, I'm ready to give this, like that. Yeah, these three
Okay,
things.
perfect. I think your interview experience and my interview experience are definitely very different. But of course, my role is also very different. So that's another story. But these were the two rounds. Now, can you tell us what happened in the next round? And also, again, the same question. Did you get some time to prepare for the next round?
Next round
Okay.
was very chill and very short, I would say. It's called AA, as appropriate. So what I figured from that is, after my interview, that whatever those two people who interviewed me in the first two rounds must have written something about me, that this is good but this is not that great, like a tabular format. So the third person tries to figure out the part where I'm not really good at. So as appropriate means whatever they think was not covered or wasn't great in the first two rounds. So like that. So it was very short for me. Like, the interviewer, he came in and he's like, I'm going to take very less time of yours, but don't take it in the negative way. It doesn't mean that it didn't go well or something like that. I was like, okay. So he took like 5-10 minutes. He just asked about my projects. What did you do? What did you learn? That's it. So I think for some people it was also like technical, because they might have not answered database questions in the first round. So I had some people telling me that we had like MySQL queries in the third round as well. But for me, it was not technical. It was just like general, 5 minutes.
Okay. So those were the three rounds of interview that Sanya had. But before moving on, I have one question, Sanya. Reversing to the very first part of the video, I don't think so that I have asked you a question, but were there any coding round assessment before you got shortlisted for the interview rounds?
No.
No. And were there any coding questions which you think you just mentioned, but were there any specifically just coding round in all of the process before getting into Microsoft?
Technical round, that's it.
Okay.
Like in that 1 hour, they would want you to write the code. They can also tell you to tell them the approach. They can also ask theory based on that. So yeah, it's all of them covered in
All
one
of them.
round. Yeah.
And were there any questions that you think and you can remember was asked out of everything that you have mentioned in your resume?
From my resume, I think no. Like, from my resume, they just asked about the projects I did, what I did in it. They were very interested to know the problems I might have faced in that road and how I solved them. Even in the technical round, I think they talked a little about my projects and what approach I took, So they were interested in my projects from my resume.
Okay. So those were the three rounds that Sanya had before getting into Microsoft. Now, Sanya, how did you feel when you got the news that you are selected for Microsoft?
I'm the top of the world, because it was like, as I said, in my first round I didn't feel like I was going to get in, but after the second round I was hell sure. Like, third round में कुछ भी मेरे को पता मेरा हो चुका है. I was already celebrating. I also, like, I remember I bought a new outfit to click pictures in so that I can post on Instagram when I get into Microsoft. So I did that before my third round. I had already pictures saved, so when I got the news, I just posted them.
Would you like to recall how did you receive the message or an email or the call about you getting placed in Microsoft?
Yep. So basically, the result was supposed to come on the next day through an email, but I got a call on the night itself, like 11 p.m. or something, from our Hota sir, if you remember. Yeah, he's the placement head or something. Yeah. So he called me and he said, congratulations. I was like, for what? And then he said that you got into Microsoft. So I was like, oh, great, thanks. So then I was trying to call my parents. Nobody was picking up.
Oh.
My brother didn't pick up. My mom didn't pick up. But finally, my dad picked up.
That's an amazing experience. I also happen to have the same experience. We didn't get the official email. It was Hota sir who called me up. He said, Anuja, where are you? I said, sir, I'm at my home. Okay, so I have a news. And my heart was beating so fast because he could have delivered any news.
Yeah.
And I was very confident that my interview went well. But of course, jab tak you don't get the confirmation, you're always panicking. And he said, you got placed in Microsoft. And I was like, ah! So yeah, I understand the feeling of getting placed in Microsoft.
Yeah.
So Sanya, moving on, can you tell us, like every one of us, what is your day-to-day role and responsibility being a technical consultant at Microsoft? Like, walk me through your day. How does your day look like?
So, technical consultant in Microsoft, we have four COEs. You might know for the viewers. We have apps and innovation, which I am a part of. We have biz apps. We have infrastructure and security, and data and AI. So you don't get to really decide which COE you want to be a part of, but the managers kind of distribute you based on your experiences or projects or whatever. So I think that's how it's done. So my resume was mainly on development, web dev, app dev. So that's why maybe I'm in apps and innovation. So I have a project, I have a client. What they expect from us is development, fixing of bugs. So for example, I work on C Sharp, Angular, .NET. That's the tech stack from for my application. And daily life is just development. We have user stories. User stories is basically like a big format of, for example, they need a new uh, page basically or a document in their application which we need to develop. So there are functionalities present in that user story. You need to mention the efforts you spend on that user story. So it's all calculated. You have PJMs, you have your dev lead, feature lead, who talk to you through your day. Key, what tasks are you working on today? What task is planned for tomorrow? So all of that is planned. Once the user story, so user story takes like a month. So you can work on the same thing for a month, and then after that is done, the development part is done, you go into testing. But then after user story, we also have bugs. So if user stories are developed, there comes a month where you just have to solve bugs. You have to work on bugs that are created maybe by testers or from the business side, that the application is working fine, but there are certain changes we would want, or certain fixes. This is taking more time in loading, so maybe performance issue, stuff like that. So bugs are created, and then for bugs, the effort is less. You don't spend a whole month in one bug. You keep resolving them and getting a new one. That's how it is. So day-to-day life is just development. We have like two scrum calls in the morning and in the evening. So they ask you how much time you spend in what task, how is it going, do you have any problems, and yeah, so just coding basically.
And a very off the script question: do you also face the customer call? Are you also part of the customer call to understand their requirement from them and not your manager?
So my client is a huge client, as you know, huge. Personally, I haven't faced any customer call as of now, but I feel like if there are smaller projects where the team is maybe less than 10, including PGM's dev lead, feature lead, then you might get a chance to face the customer as well. That's why only PGM's feature lead, they face the customers. They understand the requirements, yeah, for any issues they are facing, and then they forward that thing to us. As developers, I think you should work on this because customer remarks are this.
Okay, that's a lot of knowledge for me. But so any one tip that you would like to give out to everyone who's watching this for their entire process or entire imagination of getting into Microsoft?
I think like there's a Microsoft thing. We say that keep growing, like growth mindset. So you can't, in technical field, I feel like you can never be comfortable in one टॉपिक और वन लैंग्वेज कि मेरे को जावा आती है, मेरे को जावा बहुत अच्छी आती है तो बस हो गया, नहीं. इफ जावा कैन गो एनी टाइम, ठीक है, वी हैव AI कमिंग अप, सो यू शुड बी रेडी टू टेक द नेक्स्ट बिग थिंग. You should be ready to learn the next big thing and just explore your way. I think Microsoft, what we really see is they don't want to see तुमने कितना पढ़ा है, especially if they're hiring from college. They don't want to see तुम्हारी अभी तक की achievements क्या है. They see कि ये बंदा जब Microsoft join करेगा, is he eligible enough to keep learning and keep growing. मतलब ऐसा तो नहीं है that this person will stop कि मेरे को ये आता है तो मैं यही करूँगा. अगर if opportunities come their way, they should take them up, keep learning and keep growing. So I think growth mindset is my advice. If you have that, you can crack anything.
Wow, I think I have heard a lot of advices, be confident, be this, be that, but actually you're the first person who's telling me that you gotta have growth mindset even before you enter
Yeah.
Microsoft to actually enter Microsoft. And I think that's my personal key takeaway from this session of ours. But thank you so much, Sanya. I think everyone would have loved this video because we got to know so many things about the technical consultant role at Microsoft. And thank you so much, everyone, for watching this. And again, thank Sanya. Thank you so much.
No worries.
So that's it, everyone. That is it for today's video. I'll see you guys next time. Till then, take care and bye.